back, everybody, to another episode of The Mind of Reese. Today is a very special episode. The first of many, really. My first non-tattooer in this space, but she is a creative entrepreneur, or shall we say, womb-preneur. My best, greatest friend, Ana. I can't tell you, we've been soul sisters probably in lifetimes before this. We've connected so much in mastermind spaces and other programs. And we've just had this beautiful relationship that I just get to love and watch blossom throughout the time that we've been together. She is a powerhouse CEO, used to be scientist and now leading women through their own feminine essence. Like, this woman knows her shit. So without further ado, I'd love to invite Ana into the space. Hi, Ana. I love you.
Reese. Hi, everyone. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be here today and to have a juicy conversation. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so happy you're here. And before we even got this whole party started, I was just talking and telling her how much I love to calibrate to her energy, because a lot of times, especially in the online space, when it comes to being an artist and a tattoo artist, we tend to hide a lot behind our own art. And with being around Ana and people like Ana just owning their feminine essence and their just sensuality, it really just goes to show how much we can create that creative flow in our own work by showing up in all of our, how I like to say, unfuckwithable self. So Ana, please, I would love to let's just get to know you. I would love to know how you got here, how you became, a creative entrepreneur, a coach, a mentor, a guide, and why this work is so meaningful to you.
First saying, wow, thank you for having me here, because I'm feeling already just being in your frequency as well. I feel like our hearts explode. So I hope you all that are listening, you can feel this high resonance. And my intention for this space is for us to have like a really chill but real conversation about it. And I love your question already, because I know so many of us can relate, especially artists, right? We are like really immersed in our art and our creativity, and we can be so much in our in our expansion. And there is moments as well where like sometimes we all come from different backgrounds and different situations. So it's really important to share the journey that we've been through. And yeah, like for me, I started as a scientist and I did my degree in molecular biology. So that was pretty wild. That was really, like, for me, it was honestly, it feels like a lifetime ago. But I also realized, right, that when I started to do this quote unquote coaching, I realized I had been coaching all my life. So a lot of my clients and a lot of people that I see, that it's almost like we feel like, what is it like to be a coach and whatnot? It's actually something that we carry inside, which is this devotion to helping others and to teach others through embodiment, right? And I feel like this is how my journey started with coaching, right? It's like I took myself through the biggest breakup I had ever gone. It was a rock bottom moment. And I want to take you there to that scene, because I was already traveling the world for many years. And there was a moment where I started to feel that, I reached what I thought it was the pinnacle of my scientific career. I was doing my master thesis in cancer biology, in oncology, in Cambridge University. On paper, it looked amazing. On paper, it was like, whoa, I have a really amazing resume. And I was like, but that's not it, right? And I remember being on a college dinner, like Harry Potter style. And in there, I was like, yeah, that feels like academics and stuff. Like, that feels cute. But I'm like, that's not it. I felt so dry inside. So I know so many of us can relate to this moment of like, okay, this is meant to feel really good, but it's not feeling good. And that's when I went into my own alchemy of one-way ticket to India. I became a yoga teacher, right? I started to hitchhike the world. Like, I loved hitchhiking because to me, it was connecting to the divine. It was connecting to God, Goddess. It was, to me, connecting to the compassion and love for all beings. So I went on this whole spiritual journey for like what it would be 5 years. And then it reached that point that was that rock bottom moment. I was during the lockdown. and I was in Lake Atitlan in Guatemala with my at the time partner, and he was like, okay, things we were arguing so much. I had lost who I was. Like I was not even sharing on socials anymore, where I used to share my travel blog. This is how it all started as well, as a travel spiritual blog. I wanted to share my truth, my spirituality. And then I went into that rock bottom moment. I was like, I chopped my hair. I was like, who am I? Who am I? I left my science behind. I don't even have a career. I started to do a little bit of virtual assistant work to get some money. So I was like, okay, I know there is something for me in this coaching thing, in this coaching industry, but I'm not sure quite yet. So I came back home after 7 years being gone, back to the roots. And it was like, whoa, it was a whole recalibration at first. It was like, wow, am I really ready or not? And, eventually it evolved into me doing my womb awakening journey, because I kept thinking about that partner, right? And I was like, why is it I should cut the cords with that partner? Why is it he keeps coming? I forgive you, but why is it I cannot release it from my energy? And that was the whole womb awakening journey. I took myself through that, my own initiation. I didn't study with anyone. It was all intuitive and with the practices that I had learned through my travels. And I was like, whoa, okay, I'm onto something. And that's when it all started. And I started to have my first clients. And then it was like, whoa, 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 this is epic. That was 2021. And then things started to explode. And now I teach women in business. I teach about the womb. I teach all about this reconnection to the womb and our power and our feminine essence, which back then, 2020, I was not. I was with my hair chopped. I was trying to dress like mountainy, to try to impress the guy, that like the partner. And you're like, what are you even doing? You're not being yourself, right? And I was like, wow, I was so detached about my pleasure, my body, and that was the beginning, and that was the unfolding.
Oh my gosh. There's so many juicy wisdom golden nuggets in all that you've just said, and it's so relatable to so many people, and not only just the story of like the rock bottom and the breakup and how that kind of unseats you, and but it's like those rock bottoms, it's like, what do I get to choose from here? Do I let that dictate my future, or do I utilize that and alchemize that as a way to really understand where my natural and where my path is, where my dharma is, where my purpose lies? And so with you, what I love, Anna, is that you like the part where you were like, I want to cut the cords. I want to cut the cords between not only this partner, but between who I was and who I am now becoming. And from that aspect, it's like that is so relatable to us as in the artistry and like even the tattoo industry, because there are so many of us that hide behind that sense of safety of like, oh, I'll just show up in my art and I don't have to show up all the way. And by showing up, it's too vulnerable, and vulnerable means risk and uncertainty and, emotional dysregulation. And it's just like, nope, I can hide behind something. I can hide behind, utilize my pain to kind of create that block to where I'm like, oh, well, I'm doing just fine, instead of like really propelling you to the next level you. And so what I would love to talk more about is, like, you said something about pleasure, and utilizing that pleasure and that feminine essence to really guide you to finding yourself, I suppose. And so I would love to kind of dive deeper into what that looks like for you, and what that looked like for you, and how that works for, everybody, including the masculine as well.
I love this question so much. And I so totally agree, right? When we are creatives and we create our piece of art, it's vulnerable to share it with the world. And all of you tattoo artists here, or artists in general, hearing this is like, I hear you, I feel you. It's your work of art, and it's so vulnerable because it's an expression of your soul, right? Like, and for me that applies. Like, I do a lot of embodiment and sensual embodiment, and that is really vulnerable for me when I share my sensuality reels. And I do that as a reclamation, right? Everything is tied to this bigger mission, but I feel it's so vulnerable at times to show our art, however that looks, right? And for me and my own journey, it all started with, realizing that I needed to prioritize my own pleasure. in every given moment. The same way, every time I create something, when it comes to content, when it comes to anything in business, or when it comes to art, right? It should be coming and stemming from a state of presence and from a state of a regulated nervous system, right? Because when I create from that state, that energy is felt. And I'm sure like we can all relate the pieces of content we create and not much happens, or the pieces of content we are so in love and it's out of the norm, but it's just like, I love this, and people feel it because it's energetic, right? So I believe that our ability to allow for ourselves to be seen in that vulnerability is directly connected to our feminine polarity. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, right? We both have feminine and masculine, and our feminine within us all is desires to be seen, right? She has this deep desire inside of you. Even if you're a man, even if you're a woman, you have an inner she, right? And an inner he, right? And they are there to create a dance of polarities, right? When you take action in your business, that's you are in your masculine. But when you are allowing to be seen and you create a personal brand and you become like, you know, like you help people solve their problems, you become a coach in a specific thing. Maybe you are very niche down into that specific tattoo technique, or maybe you are more into like, okay, yeah, it's more about the creativity, find your creativity as an artist, or wherever it is, right? It's really important to realize that your ability to be seen is your ability for the right people to find you, right? And it is so tender at times, right? Like, it's like, yeah, Reese, yeah, right? Yeah, exactly.
Everybody watching the YouTube, I just got full-blown chills, nip nops hard. You just said the quote of the day.
We said it exactly, right? So that's it. Because let's for a moment feel into this. If we are all one, that means that we are all the same being, even though we identify ourselves separately from each other, right? We see with our mind that we are different separate beings. However, we know that there is a divine spark within us all. So the moment that I want to hide something from you means that I'm hiding something from myself because I have shame. Yeah. And where are you feeling still that you don't allow yourself to fully be seen in your mastery? For me, honestly, when it came to my pleasure and when I started to reconnect with my pleasure and I was like, whoa, this is the way, it literally like ignited something within me. But I was met with resistance, with like, oh my God, what are people going to think? Now I used to be a scientist. And then I was a travel blogger, a yogi, and she's a yoga teacher. That's so socially accepted. And then I was a womb priestess, a womb guide, and I was teaching women to connect to pleasure. And like, you know, there were a lot of limiting beliefs in my subconscious. For me, there were a lot of resistances. And yet I knew that what I was bringing was anchored because it was coming from my state of pleasure. It was coming from like, whoa, this changed my life. This is going to change the life of others. And because of that devotion and connection, that was it. That was the reason of like, I'm going to bring pleasure throughout the journey. I'm going to experience resistance. And I don't care because I know that when I see myself fully as this powerful priestess, the others will see me fully as well.
Totally meant to interrupt this podcast for this beautiful new program I am just dropping, this container called Scale, where I am going to walk you through the 7 components to creating a separate passive income stream in the way of education, coaching, and mentoring. So if you have always desired in your soul that you are meant to be a teacher, an educator, a guide, a healer, a mentor, and you are also tattooing, but you're trying to hold both businesses at once, this container is for you. You're definitely going to want to know the 7 components on how to really create a sustainable business, but also how to create a coaching business. So this is basically the blueprint on how to create a thriving coaching business, and something I'm going to be walking you through trainings, through live calls, through group coaching, as well as one-on-one coaching with me especially. Because big business, big energy, baby. If you're ready to create that tattoo empire, this is for you. Check the show notes. The link is there. Hop on a connection call with me. We'll see what we can do.
So I'm going to allow myself to have fun in that expression. Make it an art, make it playful. You don't need to be like fixated on one thing or the other thing, but make it a continuous evolution, just like your art. And I feel like for me, that was the missing link. It was bringing pleasure into every piece of content, everything that I'm creating, every course I launch. Yeah, maybe I wanted 20 people, and maybe there's not 20 people, or maybe there is, right? It doesn't matter. I'm going to continue creating and co-creating to see what great spirit, what Goddess gives me, because it's going to be in divine alignment when I'm on mission.
I think I could listen to you talk. I'm like so into what you just said. I'm just going to re-listen to it on my walks just so that I can have that essence of you inside my mind every time I find myself in resistance and wanting to take a step back. Like that is so, you're such a badass. You're such a gangster. You're such a gangster.
I'm loyal gangster for you,
Loyal
Reese.
gangster.
You know it. You know it. I'm loyal gangster for you.
I am for you. Obviously, as you guys can tell, we've known each other for what, like over a year now, I'd say. Yeah, we've been in programs and containers together for a while now, and it's just blossomed. And just hearing you and the level of conviction that you have for what you're doing, that's that anchor I noticed that you have within you, that you, so you can show up even when there is resistance. It's like walking with your fear. And so we find you found, it's like you found that anchor point, that middle point, that part that tethers to your heart and to your soul, that pulls you, even when you're like, this is fucking scary. I've never done this before. This unseats me. And even though sometimes it might take you, it might make you falter, you're still ready to get up, dust off your knees, and then keep going. And that's that level of conviction we only can find when we are in our pleasure, when we are in that devotion and that feminine essence. And I love that you describe it the way that you do, because it does come from that like deep desire and deep devotion. And I'm even holding like my womb space, just like thinking about it, because it's like, that's where I know where my creativity lies. And I would love to talk to you more about even that too. It's like your desire, devotion, the pleasure and creativity, how that all kind of lies in the womb, and what that means to you, and like how you see that.
I love this question, and you know, we could have like a whole day conversation on this. I know, and you know, Reese, I love you so much, and I respect you so much, and I'm so inspired as well by you, and it is such a pleasure to be here. I'm like, yeah, love, because honestly, that's it. It's like when you create, and just take this as an example, like collaboration, right? Create with collaboration. There is no competition, right? Because we are all so unique. When you are anchored into this matrix of abundance, to me, it's like you're anchored into the pathway of expansion and the pathway of pleasure and the pathway of everything is possible, limitless potentiality. This to me is the access to the quantum field, right? So let's get sciencey, because you asked me that question. I'm like, this is my chance. Okay, so let's get sciencey, okay? And for all of you, also, before we get sciencey about this, I want to say, yes, I bring a lot of esoteric topics and how I speak about it, but it's always tied to this science, right? As a scientist, as a molecular biologist, I like to bring that, right? I like to help understand that, yeah, like I'm woo-woo, I'm cosmic, I'm bringing it esoterically, and I'm very grounded. And I teach through science. And I feel like that's when the logic and mind also can understand. So I want to give you a little bit of that today. Yes, let's do this.
You're
all
like,
of you,
you're basically hugging and kissing my Virgo inside me. She's like, yes, give it to me straight, Doc. Like, give it to me grounded. Yeah.
I love it. I have 6 planets in Capricorn, so I feel like you're Virgo, and all my Earth is connecting. I'm a Pisces sun, so I'm a little bit the Lulu. I am, but I have all the Earth. So let's do this. So before I want to talk about is like, yeah, this aspect, but it's talking about coming out of the closet, right? I feel like that before we even dive into like the womb is like just accepting who you are. It doesn't matter in what field you are. The question you're like, wow, that devotion is so strong and it keeps you moving forward. Yes, And why is that tied to the woman? Why, like, how does it feel for you, right? And for me, it came that you believe in something so strong that it becomes a real big fuck yes energy. And the fuck yes energy, that's the womb, that's the turn on, that's the excitement, that's the sacral. Oh my goddess, I love that, right? Like, I want to make love to you, right? Or I want to make love to you. Really, right? Really, that's it. It's like making love, right? To life, making love. It's this turn on energy. And this turn on energy for your life, for your mission, for your art, this becomes something that guides you, right? And why is all of this connected to the womb? And even if you don't have a womb, if you don't have a physical womb, you can still connect energetically. And also if you're a man, because you come from the womb, but you can connect to your sacral and imagine it as the sacral as well. But right now I'm going to talk about the womb as this portal of creation. Literally, if we are all born from the womb, and we are literally new souls that are born from a different body of your mother, and then you're born and you're a completely new human. So that means that we have literally a technology in our womb space inside of us that is able to develop life and download a completely new soul into this physical plane. So how I like to talk about it is that the womb is a quantum portal. It's a quantum machinery. It's literally a technology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a technology. And the reason why, if you're familiar with fractals, which I know that you are, because I know that you love your sacred geometries and whatnot. So I'm going to give it to you. So you know about the sacred geometry. So imagine the Fibonacci sequence, the shell, right? The spiral, the golden ratio. That Fibonacci sequence is on top of one ovary. And then we have the other ovary. So there is two Fibonacci sequences that meet in the center, which is the middle point. It is where the soul of the egg and the sperm gets implanted inside of the uterine walls. So, we have sacred geometry that create also, we have the vesica piscis in our cervix, which creates two circles into one. And that is also the definition of oneness and unity consciousness. So only through, yeah, right? Like, so can you visualize it? Yeah, yes. I feel like your artist mind is like, yeah, I'm seeing it. Right?
Yes. Oh, I'm like, holy shit. Like, I just like, that came out of me on accident. I was like, holy shit, Anna. Like,
that's so, because I know you're such a badass with the sacred geometry, right? And you all here understand that sacred geometry is a pattern of the divine because it's mathematics, and the divine experiences in nature through mathematics, through like, certain proportion. So when we see, to me, sacred geometry is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, light and matter, because it's like how light organizes itself through these mathematical equations to make like a cauliflower. Why is a cauliflower like that? Fractals, because it's fractal on fractal on fractal. And this to me is the essence of God, right? Divine or the universe. So we have that in our wombs. And we have the two spirals meeting in the 0 point. And we literally have a quantum machine inside of our wombs.
I feel like I cannot wait to utilize my own quantum machine. And it's funny because it's like, even though you describe it as this, it's like we all either consciously or unconsciously are using it. And so it's like, and so what I would love for you is like, you had talked about like the shame aspect. And I'm wondering if that is like your blockade connection between utilizing it from a conscious or unconscious space. So tell me something about that part of it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. I love this because 100%. So everything is frequency, right? So a lot of us, especially as women that we carry from different lineages. And for instance, I am born in Spain. So I'm carrying the lineages of Spain. We have a lot of ancestry of scarcity, for instance. I'm going to use the example of money, right? Because this has been a big reprogramming. And I feel like our ability to feel worthy of receiving pleasure is also our ability to receive worthy of money and worthy of receiving it all. And this is our connection to our wombs, which is tied to the shame and the unworthiness that we can feel for also being women at times, especially, for instance, when we're bleeding. When we're bleeding, our cervix, which is the passage between the uterus and the vagina, the cervix opens. And this cervix is connected in the meridian, the reflexology point of the heart and the third eye. So when we are bleeding, we're more psychic. And that's why I love to actually paint with my menstrual blood. Trigger warning. I know some people are not ready for this. Trigger warning. I love you.
You're welcome.
I love you. You're welcome. But yeah, we can talk more on the power of using your menstruation blood to create. And I love to create sacred geometry with my blood and create art, because it's the art of creativity, and we close the cycle of life, right? So anyway, I know I'm going on to a whole new topic, but what I wanted to bring here is like when the cervix opens, we are more psychic. However, we have been shamed about our menstruation. We have been told that we need to feel dirty, that it needs to feel up, and it needs to be painful. However, that's not true. When you do active practices, like you do yoni steaming, you do pleasure practices, and you do different practices that I, of course, teach you and guide you through, there is a deep awakening that happens, because you no longer see your menstruation as something dirty, but actually you take time off. The first day you completely lay horizontal, maybe you do some art, because this is the day you receive the downloads. So when you get to release the shame, you get to use the womb also as a portal of creativity. When you're bleeding, this is a moment you're most psychic, receiving the downloads to implement in your business. And then when you're bleeding, it's not the moment that you're meant to collaborate here and there and go, go, go. No, no, no. When you're bleeding, it's your sacred portal of like the artist coven. And this is the moment where you can go into your, like, you know, mad scientist kind of energy with your ideas, but you don't take action on them. And then when you go into different areas of your cycle, for instance, after your bleed finishes, this is your inner spring, and then your ovulation, inner summer, and then, you know, like you start to implement those. So when you're talking about the womb as this machine, or when we are talking about this as this machinery, we also get to see how also this womb has 4 seasons and 4 cycles, right? And the more we attune and we bring pleasure, understanding that we have different needs, we are also going to start releasing the shame. And shame is really important to be released also in lovemaking, because, for instance, for us women, we need 40 minutes to warm up, and for our yonis, our vaginas, to change more, like to change, because we have erogenous tissue in which we'll get engorged and we'll shift and we will be open and fully, totally open to be ravished. However, if you don't know, you actually physiologically 40 minutes, you're going to be allowing people to penetrate you when you're not ready. And that creates this association, that creates this lack of self-trust, shame, and worthiness, and whatnot. So the more you bring a womb-centric life, understanding that if you can download a whole new soul into physicality, you can also download your ideas. You can even plant your ideas as an energetic seed onto your womb, and you can birth your projects and creativity through your womb, using your womb seasons and womb cycle as well. So I know, like, there is for some people this can be like, okay, that sounds very, very, like, you know, like ethereal, but it can be actually very practical. Just like, as I was saying, resting the first day of your bleed. When you are ovulating, this is the time to collaborate with others, right? Like, and for a tattoo artist, for instance, I would say, you know, I would focus a lot on creating your art during the times that you are in your bleed, because this is the moment that you are like psychic. And then throughout the other times is the moment maybe I would implement more on business or, like, you know, collaborations, or, you know, going out or whatnot.
You know, what's funny is that I find that a lot in like my membership space, where I see a lot of times that people are in season, and that it's almost like there's shame around having a season, and shame around not having that go, go, go mentality that the patriarchy is really like told us to be like. And so, and, you know, we have this wounded part of us that's like, no, I have to be, or I should be like this. And so it's like understanding that, you know, even as women, even just like in anything, we're all cyclical, we're human, we're meant to have cycles, we're meant to have seasons, and that it is okay when things are not like on the go, 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 when you want to kind of let go of the brake and kind of coast a little bit, maybe you just want to like totally break off, and take a break right there and then on the side of the freeway or something. It's like really just knowing that it's okay, that all of it is okay, and that and you're totally not only just like give yourself like the permission slip of just allowing yourself to have those seasons, because you actually will get more done productively when you can honor those parts of you. And I think that that's what, like, when you're saying like it's ethereal, and when you said it's practical, I'm like, no, it seems very practical. Because even like in just talking about a workout cycle, I know that when I'm on my bleed, the last thing I want to do is do hard workouts. I want to do something a little bit softer, maybe more yoga that week. And then on like my ovulation, or when I'm really feeling a vibe, I'm like, yes, like, it's like those weeks when we're just like not as sexual with our partners in other weeks, or when I'm not feeling wanting to draw as much as like other weeks, where I just know that like maybe this week is the part where I just marinate it and let it integrate inside my body. And then I actually put it on paper later. So I love that you mentioned this part of it, because it does have this sense of just honoring and permission to just be okay that we are cyclical, and then we are seasonal, and we're just like our bleed is, just like the moon cycles, just like the sun rises and the moon sets. It's like we are allowed to be allowed to be in all the places that we're meant to be, and not just in the go productivity mode. Yeah. So
I love this so much. Yeah, especially as an artist, right? Because the artist, you guys, like, you are connected with creative energy, which is like life force, it's Kundalini.
Hello. We are just in a little short break because I want to invite you into, not that I haven't been talking about this the entire podcast episode, but my Align and Rise membership. This is for the spiritual tattoo artist and creative entrepreneur who knows that true success, wealth, and freedom not only come from mastering the art of business, but also mastering the art of embodiment. So if you are craving to be a part of a community of spiritual trailblazers who dream fucking big but want to play bigger, if you're ready to up-level your voice and your content and your expression in a way that feels fun, authentic, and converting, or you're just ready to truly connect to intuition to bring more inner and outer wealth, then Align and Rise is for you. This is a place for you to stay plugged into the constant evolution and self-mastery. And I'm talking about over $8,000 in programs for business, marketing, and self-mastery. Right when you sign up, we're talking about live Zoom calls, 2 of them every month with me. And we have daily trainings in Telegram with a community of just badass creative entrepreneurs and spiritual tattoo artists. So if you're really wanting to stay plugged into inspiration and you just are looking for the abundance of more and more on top of more, then this is the place you want to stay plugged into. And guess what? It's only $88 a month. So we're talking about over $8,000 in bonuses right when you come in, talking about $4,000 in value every single month. Plus we're going to be doing guest experts and other seminars every quarter. So you're getting jam-packed of value, inspiration, education, and programs on how to scale and grow your business in a holistic way, all for $88 a month. Check the show notes. Click that link, bitch. I love you.
Right? And it's so normal that you don't always feel creative, the same way you don't always feel like making love, because no, there's seasons, right? But it's, as you say, how to give grace and also understand that we have a map. We literally have a map to know how we're going to feel, because we have the dance of hormones. So whenever we finish our bleed, we have estrogen that starts to rise, and that's the feel-good hormone. You're going to feel amazing. Your libido will rise because we have a peak of testosterone when the egg is released. Then you're going to be like, whoo, and this is the moment, as you say, like, fitness, take action, take on the wall, masculine energy. But then there's moments that we're going to need this yin energy, especially as an artist, for you to listen to the cues of your inspiration. And if you don't give yourself that grace to pause, then we can feel like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm not going as fast, or, or I don't feel like showing up. Yeah, maybe you don't feel like showing up online because maybe you are almost like getting your bleed, right? And then that will have an effect, right? And it's like whenever a client comes and it's like, oh, yeah, but my business and the launch is like this. I was like, wait, okay. Food, nutrition, have you been sleeping? Have you been tapping into your pleasure? Have you been exercising? And then where are you in your cycle, right? That's so important. Because
Yeah.
then it's a map for us, right? And this is a map to be seen as well, to know that you don't always need to be seen. Only when you feel good and you, with your own consent, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna force myself to show up live. If I'm feeling like, oh, I'm gonna do something else, but then I'm gonna plan, because for instance, for me, I'm full blown on launch. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. I'm full blown on launch. How I'm planning this launch of my signature course, Mystic Priestess Awakening. And right now it's starting at the end of the month, my course, right? So I'm like, okay, right now I just finished my inner summer. I'm starting to go into my inner autumn. That means that I have my progesterone hormone that is rising, which is signaling the decay. It's like the hormone that is like, oh, like the leaves of the tree fall kind of energy. So it's like, okay, now the egg has not been fertilized. Now we're going to start that. So I know myself that now I'm feeling amazing. Ooh, that's why I plan, like podcasts during that time, because I'm feeling outdoors, I'm feeling sexy, I'm feeling juicy. But in a couple of days, I know this is going downwards. So it's not that I am bound to that, but I'm using that in my favor. Knowing that, okay, this week I'm going to go and, okay, I'm going to do content plan, launch plan, this and that, emails, things. But then I'm going to give myself grace next week because I know I'm going to be in that retraction, boundary setting, inner cave. So totally, I love this, especially as creative artists. I feel like this is so important.
Oh yeah, I love how you called it boundary setting inner cave. Like I think that that's like we have to first, it starts with us first, and then we take care of our audience, right? It's like, what can I do for myself first so that I can support my audience in whatever way? And if I'm not supporting myself, I'm not supporting my audience. I'm not supporting my community. And so when we kind of try to move past that and just say, how do we get? How do I do more? Really, it's like the real question that we don't want to ask is what is the question that we're actually, it's like, how can I get people to do something? How can I chase? It's like there's this chase there when we're not giving ourselves that grace of like, I honor the space that I'm in. And what I love, and you mentioned this too in your when you were just saying, is that when this next cycle is going to come, when you need to give yourself grace. Yes, you're not bound to that, but you're going to open yourself up to give yourself grace. But if in that week you decide, wow, actually, I do feel motivated to do more, I'm going to do more. It's like when you just give yourself the permission to have the space, you're more than likely going to create from such an embodied, beautiful space. Like it's just a downloads come through so much when you are like, no, I know me well enough to know that this is where I'm going to have my moment of maybe a little bit of a decline, and that's okay. And I'm going to offer myself, 3 days off this week. And then in those 3 days, I'm going to tell myself I get 2 things done per those days, and then that's it. And if I get any more done, cherry on top, instead of it being like, I have to get this done, I have to get that done every single day. It's like we're really creating this very effective balance between not only ourself, between us and God or goddess in the universe, but also between us and our community. And that's how you can really truly call in the soulmate clients that you have. And I just like, I just love that you just kind of just like, you basically taught a whole business course and balance in this.
Oh, oh my goodness. I know, right? I love you so much. I love that you're bringing and tying things up for us. Like, truly, like, yes, that's it, right? That's it.
That's like
It's so simple.
we as humans, we just like to complicate things, and we love a good complication because we love the drama. We love, as humans, we love drama. We love a good drama. So it's like we want to complicate it, but when really it's like we were born to understand these things. We were born to understand our go, our productivity, our inner boundary, our inner cave. I love that you said that. And just like understand where we're downloading and connecting to the quantum. And then when we can implement that and put that on paper, and then when we can also say, hey, I'm not going to show up. I'm going to show up for me first, and then I'm going to show up for you next. Like that all you just mapped out like the most brilliant time management space, and just utilizing your own body. Like that's huge. Oh, I love you so much. And it's like perfect timing actually, because like
Yes.
we're like right at that hour moment. And I would love to talk about what I would love to talk about is like what's happening next in your world. I know Mystic Priestess Awakening is coming up. That's your signature course, which is so exciting. And I would just love, I think what it would be so beautiful is because since I'm starting to I just opened up a new container with like tattooers becoming coaches, mentors, and educators. I really love the idea of spreading the love and knowing that like you guys, I didn't become a coach and a mentor from another tattoo artist. Like I went out and I explored things that really meant things to me, and like really got into other containers and started to just kind of expand my own knowledge around what other people are doing. And I think you present such a beautiful not only like inspiration for people, because you're so connected to your anchor, your why, the reason why you're here and to what you're doing, that you can also be very, very successful in doing that. I think that there are a lot of people feel like, well, I can only teach tattooing in order to, that's all I know. And it's like, for you, I think what you're teaching, even though it's very science-based, there's still this ethereal, esoteric aspect to it, and very, very woo. And it's like, yeah, and you're doing it. And I find that so inspiring. And I know that a lot of people here would too. And so just that in and of itself, but just tell us what you're doing and tell us what's happening in your world.
Oh, thank you, beautiful. And totally agree. It's like, honestly, you can make a living. When you're living on purpose, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Really, it doesn't matter when you are tapped into what we were talking about, this fuck yes, right? And that's the thing I want to leave you with, right? Which is like throughout this journey of like bounding the boundaries, okay, navigating through the seasons, and also it's like, how can you bring pleasure, right? And how can you bring this pleasure so that you can be creative? And just like you, Reese, were saying, like, how can I nourish myself first? So that then whatever I create and I bring to my audience is also from this overflow. And to me, this fuck yes energy, this pleasure, it's you cultivating a relationship to your pleasure, right? And going into a whole reprogramming of what it means to be in your feminine polarity and receiving. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, it's the same. It's like, how do you allow yourself to be seen by others? And also knowing that the feminine always changes, right? So also, I believe in multidimensional niching. I don't believe that even if you're a tattoo artist, you cannot do maybe you are a tattoo artist, you are a fairy, maybe you love Reiki, or maybe I don't know, like you love football and you're gonna teach football and tattoo. It doesn't really matter, because when you create a personal brand and you show your energy online, it's you, right? And I feel like when you bring pleasure and excitement into all the lessons that you're teaching, and you're teaching from that embodiment, from that fuck yes, from that turn on, right? This is when it's gonna work no matter what you're doing, and no matter if you desire to pivot or to try something new, it doesn't matter, right? So that's why being connected to that turn on is actually what it will lead you, and it will inform you. And that's why I created my program, Mystic Priestess Awakening, which is you connected to that magnetism turn on energy. And how we do that is I'm taking you through a journey of 3 months. So it's a mastermind, 3-month mastermind, in which I'm taking you first through the menstruation. Yeah, we first get to know, release the shame, do practices, and then we dive deep into lovemaking, pleasure, boundaries, balancing your masculine and feminine, tapping into your emotions, because a lot of the times, a lot of us, we don't know, okay, but what is my turn on? I don't know. Why? Because you already said yes when you wanted to say no many times, or you said no when you wanted to say yes. So there is a disconnect in your nervous system. So through pleasure and regular pleasure practices and womb practices, what we do is we retrain your nervous system yourself into coming back into knowing what is your turn on. And once you know that's a fact yes, it just becomes a fact yes, and you're like, that's a fact yes. Right? And then you follow the fact yes, that's my mission, I'm going to continue, it doesn't matter, the seasons come and go, but this is my direction. Right? And this is what I invite you and I take you through, because I know so many of us, we're so different. Like maybe you have like apprehension on your menstruation, or maybe you can orgasm, or maybe you cannot, or maybe you don't have any sexual problem at all. You're a sex queen and you share your energy with partners that you shouldn't share, right? We know that. Right? It's like choosing the wrong partnerships, or ended up you didn't want to share your sexual energy, you end up sharing your sexual energy. Dang. Right? So this is something that we regulate, and we help you come back into your feminine polarity inside of Mystic Priestess Awakening. And it's a juicy course experience. There's modules, there is life practices. I guide you through yoni exploration, everything in your gradual, quote unquote, like your own unique journey. You take it through your own journey. And that's what I'm currently launching. This is going to be our third live round. It has been a revolutionary course that has taught so many women, like even women that were with partners for 7 years, they were like, they started to cry. I didn't know how good our love making could get. And really, like, literally, that's it. Full body energetic orgasms, tantric love making, expansion. So that's what I'm currently having. Also, feel free. I'm gonna share with Reese a link that I have some free master classes, and also I have a podcast that you can check. It's the Cosmic Wombs podcast, where if you want to learn about full body energetic orgasms and those things, I have it there. And yeah, I hope that this conversation, this exploration, maybe it was new, maybe it was something that you already knew, but I hope that you took something exciting from here. And thank you so much, Reese, for having me, for blessing me with your presence, and for sharing this message, because to me it's so important that as many women and men receive this wisdom, because honestly, this is how we break free from these patriarchal constructs of like grinding it and how it should do, and like we're creating a whole new earth, a whole new way, and I'm so here for it. So thank you so much.
Oh my God, I am so here for it. Oh my God, I love you. I can't wait to see you again in person. If you guys want to get in touch with Ana, I'm going to put all of her stuff in the show notes. Don't you worry. I know that she not only has Mystic Priestess Awakening, but she also has, like you said, master classes, other programs. She also does retreats if you want to see her in person, because I swear to you, the in person is on another vibe. The in-person is so good. I love in-person everything. So thank you, Ana, so much for being here, for sharing your wisdom, and just really just kicking off this new iteration of myself. Even too, I was so nervous about bringing someone else outside the tattoo industry in this space, and I realized, I was like, but it's a new iteration of me. I am a mentor, I am a guide, I am a coach and a healer, as well as a tattoo artist. I can be multifaceted, and you just reiterated and grounded me into that permission of knowing that, like, as if it comes from my pleasure, then I can fucking do whatever the fuck I want, and people are going to love it. And so I love you so much. Thank you for being.
Oh my God. Yes, I love you so much. Thank you so much for having me, and all the magic. And for all of you, this new iteration, what an honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And go now. Okay, one homework for all of you. Now, next time you enter a lovemaking session with your partner or with a lover, it is forbidden to orgasm. Okay? And yes, and you can only enjoy the way. And this is how we bring the reprogramming of pleasure-led living. So next time that you enter a lovemaking session, forbidden to have a big O, okay? And that's a reprogramming.
I love it. I'll have to do that.
Do it. And tell your partner, okay, we can make love, but today it is forbidden to orgasm.
Oh my gosh, okay. I'm so in.
And let me know what happens.
I will. I'll DM you.